Thank you all for coming. Please note, closed captions are available in the Zoom settings. This event is being recorded and the recording will be posted on the IFLA website and the Library Buildings and Equipment YouTube channels so that you can view them later. We have muted your microphones and your video is suppressed. This webinar is GDPR compliant and the IFLA and Zoom privacy policies are available at the links on your screen. I'm Marian Morgan-Bindon, Jingari Jimbalang. Hello everyone, in the language where I come from, the Yukambeh language region. I acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Queensland and Australia, and I celebrate the stories, traditions and living cultures of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and their continued connection to land. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and to any First Nations people here today. Just like this webinar, our Library Buildings and Equipment section is small but mighty, and are very pleased to present the next in its webinar series, Library Design Matters, Building Resilience, Local Solutions for Diverse Challenges. We're shining a light on small but mighty library building projects that support and enhance inclusivity, sustainable, resilient communities, and our brilliant speakers are from around the globe. Next slide, please. Following our speaker presentations, the exciting program continues with a Q&A with our speakers, which will be hosted by Cuttriss from Massey University of New Zealand, and then a Q&A with you, our audience, hosted by Philip Kent from the University of Sydney, Australia. And you'll find out lots more information, biographical and other details about our presenters on our website, librarydesignmatters.wordpress.com. Next slide, please. Our first speaker is Professor Tetiana Hranchak from the Ukraine. Tetiana's presentation is compelling and the title is Libraries of the Ukraine Under the Gun of War, the Fragility of Places, the Resilience of Spaces and the Courage of People.
Hello, dear colleagues. My name is Tetiana Hranchak and I'm a member of Presidency of the Ukrainian Library Association. Thank you for a chance to spread the word about current affairs of libraries in Ukraine. And my topic is Libraries of Ukraine Under the Gun of the War, Fragility of Places, Resilience of Spaces, Courage of People. Actually, there are a lot of different libraries in Ukraine, big and small, with classical outlines and modern or whimsical, similar to temples or castles and hubs or spaceships. Children's hideouts and cities within the city. Crossroads of people, spaces, and practices, our libraries are united in one theme. They reflect the diversity of our community and, focusing on the demands of the future, try to preserve the most valuable achievements of previous eras. Updating the library service, introducing interactive technologies and functioning as digital hubs logically affected the modernization of library spaces, which became more and more open, convenient, and attractive. Many libraries were renovated with the support of the authorities or sponsors, such as the Central City Library named after Taras Shevchenko for children of Kiev, as you can see on the slide. Spaces of immersive technologies and virtual reality laboratories were started to design in our libraries. First of all, in libraries of higher education institutions to support science and educational process. The manual for spaces of the library, an innovative model of activity developed by the experts of the Ukrainian Library Association in 2020, became the methodological basis for determining ways of transformation of the library space. The manual was created as part of a project with support of the Ukrainian Cultural Foundation and with the assistance of the National Library of Ukraine named after Yaroslav the Wise. The manual presents a library model that combines four spaces: a learning space, an inspiration space, a meeting place, and an event space. The general concept of each space is complemented by design solutions, ideas, content, examples of library services. The developed in Denmark model of the library as a combination of four spaces was taken as a basis. However, Ukrainian specialists tried to adapt the idea of Danish colleagues to our realities of life. A corresponding free online course was also developed, available from September 2019. As you can see, we were full of plans, hopes, and dreams, which Russia is crossing out today. Russia, in a monstrous way, decided to impose its own vision of our space on us. Acting as the architect of the modern apocalypse, Russia set as its goal the genocide of Ukrainians and the destruction of Ukrainian identity. That is why Ukrainian culture is under the gun. Libraries are under the gun. People, both readers and librarians, are under the gun. Here you can see the map of cultural losses of Ukraine. A lot of libraries' funds were lost. Buildings were damaged. These shots are just some of the many, many cases. We know about more than 350 public and university libraries which are destroyed, and more than 4,000 are under occupation. And while some libraries were destroyed, the space design of others was affected by the specific taste of Russian aggressors. Instead of virtual reality laboratories, bomb shelters were installed in libraries. Instead of library studios, volunteer centers. Together with volunteer organizations, librarians, their readers, and residents of communities collect and make clothes and products for refugees and for the front. And unfortunately, such activity is not totally new for us. It has been studied since 2014, when the first forced migrants from the Donetsk and Lugansk regions, as well as the Autonomous Republic of Crimea, appeared. Libraries act as assistance centers that help displaced people find temporary housing, find work, get information about their rights and ways to use them, renew social ties, get access to the internet and computer equipment to continue studying and work, attend language courses, improve and acquire IT skills, and so on. An important achievement of the Ukrainian Library Association was the establishment of interaction with partners for the preservation of library and information resources, organization of efforts to restore damaged library buildings and lost library collections. Thus, together with the Library Country Charity Foundation, the Ukrainian Library Association began recording the damage suffered by libraries from Russian military aggressors. At the same time, the American Library Association, with cooperation with the Ukrainian Library Association, launched the Fund for the Support of Ukrainian Libraries. The war changed the contours of our libraries. Our spaces were transformed into virtual worlds, bomb shelters, volunteer centers, and support circles. Our professional spaces fled into virtual environment. However, there is a library in Ukraine, which even against the background of others is experiencing a real mutation, being reborn into a qualitatively new library, a wandering library. This is the Lugansk Regional Universal Scientific Library, which was twice under occupation and twice lost its buildings and funds, but remains alive. In 2014, leaving occupied Lugansk, the institution found refuge in Starobilsk. As a result of the full-scale invasion of the Russian Federation in February 24th, the library was officially relocated and placed on the basis of the Cherkasy Regional Youth Library named after Simonenko. They said about themselves that we think, we love, we dream, we live instead of producing the syndrome of delayed life. We are slowly finding an internal resource. The Lugansk Regional Universal Scientific Library plunged into the same river twice. Only the second time, there are more splashes. Librarians scattered across different parts of Ukraine. They stretched to the west, to the center, a little to the south. Currently, we have a wandering library project, because where there are people, there is work, typical for an evacuation facility. Our goal is to develop a model of library service organization that will be flexibly implemented by migrant librarians in different parts of Ukraine. We respond in advance. We are without books. Only we look into bookstores, e-books, and other libraries more often. We walk briskly. We invent new things. We read a lot, and we know that we will win. So, even in conditions of genocide, our brave people are looking for a new chance, an opportunity to find better practices, to become closer with our readers, and turn libraries into a place of strength, as a style of spiritual resistance and resilience. We thank all our colleagues who support us, who understand that it is not only Ukrainian fight, who do their best to protect our common future. So, glory to Ukraine, glory to heroes. Stand with Ukraine, and we will win. Thank you.
Thank you, Tetiana, for that inspiring presentation. We invent a lot and know that we will win. Could I please ask the audience to pop your questions in the Q&A for our presenters to answer in those sessions. Our next presentation is from Emma Alfredsson from Sweden, who will focus on project management and inquiry at the Helsingborg Public Library. The title of Emma's presentation is New Premises for the Idé A Store in Helsingborg, Collaboration and Co-Creation to Develop Innovative Meeting Places.
Hi, my name is Emma Alfredsson. I work as a librarian at the library in Helsingborg, south of Sweden. And I'm here today to tell you a little bit about the new premises for the Idé store that we have in Helsingborg, and tell you also about how we work with collaboration and co-creation to develop an innovative meeting place. And as you might know, but I'll tell you again, Idé store is a concept from London, England, that offers library services along with adult learning courses and extensive activities and event programs. And Idé stores, they were designed to deliver in a way that capture the best traditions of the library movement, but present them in a more exciting way, one that draws in new users and retain existing users. And we have had an Idé store in Helsingborg for 10 years. It's one of our public library branches. And it's a collaboration between 5 different departments in the municipality. And next year we will move and also share this new place together with 2 other organizations within the municipality. The new premises, they will enable meetings between citizens and the municipality, and also create opportunities for them to take active part in the operations and also in the neighborhood. And this is a place where we'll be moving to, and we are working to develop an innovative meeting place, an innovative and unique meeting place where the residents can be inspired, create, and prosper. And I will tell you a little bit more about the neighborhood where we are, and also the different organizations, and then finally how we have worked with co-creation in designing the new premises. So we are here in Helsingborg. It's the 9th largest city in Sweden, in the south of Sweden. It has a population of 114,000. And it's also Sweden's closest point to Denmark. It's only 4 kilometers away. And the main public library in Helsingborg is located in the city center. And the branch, where the ID store is, it's in Drottninghög, as you can see here. And we also have, we also serve the other 2 neighborhoods, Fredriksdal and Dalhem. And the neighborhood was built in the 60s, and it was very modern back then. But things change. And about a decade ago, the neighborhood faced a lot of challenges like social problems, low income, low education, criminality. It was an unsafe place to be. And there's many nationalities living there. And since 2011, the municipality has invested a lot of resources to develop this area. There is a long-term commitment from the city, a 25-year-old project that aims at Drottninghög being an integrated part of the city, physically, mentally, and socially. And almost half of the time has passed, and a lot has already happened. The housing situation has changed. There are changes in the environment that makes it more open. And there's also an express bus leaving for the city center every 10 minutes. So the collaborating organizations that are sharing the space, it's IDA, the library meeting place. We have the Project Drottninghög, which is the urban development project, 25 years that I told you about. And we also have Rekrytera. It's an employment and education project. And all of these organizations will be under the same roof sharing the space. And I will introduce them a little bit more, starting with the ID store. So it was 10 years ago that the library branch at Drottninghög were developed into an ID store. And it's a collaboration between 5 different departments in the municipality that consociate and finance and plan together. We have the cultural department, we have the labor market department, we have the social services department, we have care and welfare department, and education, leisure, and recreation services department. And the values that is the core of IDEA is learning, health, and culture. And that should be present in everything that we do. And here, of course, already today, we have library services, which includes, as you know, books, reading, digital courses, democracy, and so on. And we also have a vast program. And that is, here you see some examples. And this program is developed together with the community. We always have dialogue with the residents when we put together the programs every semester. And we talk about what they would like us to arrange, but also what they would like to arrange here themselves. And now we have walking groups, we have readers clubs, we have board games, yoga, youth clubs, arts, different lectures, and cultural events, to name a few. And the other organization, we've already talked about it, but it's called Drottninghög. And that's the urban development project that is run by the city management administration. And they focus on social sustainability. The strategies are, it should be open, connected, and densify in the area. And they work a lot with dialogue and to be present in the neighborhood. And that's what we do at IDA as well. And then we have finally the employment and education project Rekrytera, and it's run by the labor market department. And they work very close with the neighborhood, with matchmaking, coaching, and so on, to get people into jobs or studies. And it has been very successful, even compared to other projects like this. And one of the key success factors is the bridge builders, who are residents in the neighborhood and are able to build trust and help people finding their way to Rekrytera. So all of these three organizations are going to share these 600 square meters. And we will have a common office with flexible workspace. And there will also be a big public space for the reception and so on. We have a library part, and we have our offices. I'll show you the floor plan in a minute. But what we hope for is that it will be a one-stop shop where all the residents have the opportunity to be inspired. If you're a visitor to the library and you should come and pick up a book or print some papers, you'll be able to find out more what's going on in the area. And also you will find out about how to get a job or to studies. And vice versa, if you're coming to see your coach at Rekrytera to find out more about studies, for example, you might pick up a book or join an activity at the library. And here is where we're going to be. I showed you from the other side before. It's called Spira, the whole building. And Spira, that means to grow. And it's a 16 stories high building, 50 meters. It's one of the tallest buildings in Helsingborg. And it's going to be a landmark for both Drottninghög and the whole of Helsingborg, really. And as you can see, it's a brick building. And it's a lot of green. We have terraces and balconies, both private and common ones. And also you have a little square just outside where we have the entrance. And you see the green bus in the background. That's the express bus so you can reach the city center in 15 minutes maximum. And here you find our timeline. And also you can see a picture of what the building looked like a month ago. And what is interesting here is that we worked a lot with co-creation. It's very important throughout the process. We have talked to a lot of people, not only in the neighborhood, but also in the whole city, to try and identify the needs for the future. What kind of meeting place or would you like to have in the future? And we might not be able to meet all the needs that we have uncovered, but at least everything that we really do or the functions that we have should be meeting a need that we have found out about. And this helps us to create a well-cherished and visited place. And in the long term, we want to share the decision-making process with our users. We want to try out and adapt to ever-changing needs. And by doing that, we hope to create engagement around the library and the meeting place so that it really belongs to the people using it. So what have we found out? What's important for the residents? We have found that the location in the center of the neighborhood is really important. We are in the center now, and we'll just be moving across the street. And the atmosphere and the reception and the access is also important. Someone said that the atmosphere is good and that it's not too stiff is important. Nature as a theme. Many people have said that. They like it to be like outdoors, but inside. And people want also room for activity and peace and quiet, both. Hustle and bustle, people moving makes you feel more safe. So it's both peace and quiet and people moving around, so it's tricky. And it should be a meeting place, both for planned meetings, but also where you go to find someone you might talk to, spontaneous meetings. Someone said it should be a place with a certain appeal, you want to stay in the place. And also we heard that it should be a place where you can be yourself and meet others. And the insights that we found are tools to make us insights are our tools to help make more informed decisions. And all our decisions in the projects are based on our insights. And today we have an exhibition in the library present place. That's because we want to involve the visitors in the future. You can see this picture, it's on the wall there. You see the building in the back. And you can also see there's the residents and the staff mixed together, and people telling us what they would like the place to be. It should be safe, it should be available, it should be open, you should listen, and so on. And in the background, you can see the different things that you can actually do, what opportunities you have in the new place. You can use a computer, you can go to a yoga class, you can write your CV, you can go to theater, and so on. And as you can see, there are some empty spaces, and that is for the residents to fill out what they would like to do, and also to show them that we actually create this meeting place together. And here we have the floor plan, as you see. We have the entrance where you get in. We have a small kitchenette where you can also sit, meet together here. We have a bigger hall for lectures and activities where you can study when it's nothing going on there, and we can also remove the furniture and have yoga or a job fair or something like that. And on the other side here, you have a lounge where you can read papers and also use computers if you want to print something. That's important. You have the big library section here, and you also have a smaller room for children and youth to have activities, digital activities or something, or other readers club, that kind of things. And in the back you see our working spaces where we will be. And we also have meeting rooms that people could use. We know that it's a lot of the residents would like to be able to use a small meeting room to meet. And this is our mood board. This is what we hope it will be like in the future. To give you a feeling of nature, as we said before, you can also see that we pick up the brick from the color of the bricks also inside. And this is a work together with an interior designer that we are doing now. So a lot of books, but also a feeling of a lot of plants and nature. We want it to be a calm environment so that you can find the peace and quiet, but also that there should be able for people to meet. Yeah. And this is what it actually looks like now. So a month ago, but we know that they are painting the walls and things are going on. So it will be what we hope for. What you can see also on this picture is that we have really big windows, so it will be visible from the outside. You can see what's going on here, and you can also have a view of the square and the street when you're in here. That was all. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Emma, and I look forward very much to visiting your library in 2023. Just a gentle reminder to our audience, please put your questions in the Q&A, and for more information on our speakers, please visit librarydesignmatters.wordpress.com. Delighted to welcome Dr. Gintarė Tautkevičienė, Gintarė is the Library Director at Kaunas University of Technology in Lithuania, and her presentation is New Library Spaces to Meet the Needs of Communities in Lithuania.
Hello, everyone. I thank the organizer of the IFLA Building and Equipment section for the opportunity to be here with you. Today, I will introduce successful redesign of university library spaces to meet the university community as well as the city users' needs. First of all, I would like to say a few words about the country and the university. We are from Lithuania, a small Baltic country in the center of Europe, close to the Baltic Sea. The country has a population of 2.8 million people. Kaunas is the second largest city with 300,000 inhabitants. Kaunas University of Technology is a leading Lithuanian university providing a wide range of studies and research, closely cooperating with business. The university provides studies of engineering, technologies, physical and social sciences, humanities, and arts. The university has about 8,000 students, 9 faculties, and 8 research institutes. Here is just some of the current library statistics, so that you get an idea. Our library collection consists of almost 900,000 print books and 500,000 e-books. We provide access to more than 122,000 e-journals and magazines. So, as you see, the library is moving from traditional library to electronic library, from quiet reading rooms to space for communication and collaboration. We provide a lot of training and support, which spans studies and research. Library classes are integrated in the formal education modules. The library is being transformed together with the university. As university didactics change and innovative and active learning methods are introduced, library resources and spaces need to change with them. Libraries and their role have also evolved over the last few decades, becoming open, communicative, and providing support and access to e-resources. User needs are changing. The use of printed publications is declining, and the use of e-resources is increasing. Library training is integrated into undergraduate and postgraduate curricula and is compulsory. More attention is being paid to researchers with support in managing and opening research data. Through annual surveys and discussions with the community, we have realized that the university community and students in particular need a library that is focused on their needs. They need a variety of spaces for learning and communication. The library had to be open, accessible, friendly, and adaptable to the needs of its users. It needed spaces for small and large group work, easily transformable and equipped with the necessary technical equipment. Spaces that are suitable for working around the clock, as students like to choose their own convenient study times. Students want a library that is flexible in adjusting its opening hours according to their needs, such as being open 24/7 during exam weeks. The idea that the university needs a new modern library has been discussed at the university for quite some time. The most active discussions started with the vision of the future of University Campus 2036. Various ideas were discussed, such as building a new library or modernizing the existing spaces. At that time, the library spaces were spread over 5 faculties. So decisions were needed, and we wanted to hear from the university community. Meetings were held with lecturers, researchers, students, emeriti, and the city community. After considering various possible solutions, the sustainable solution was to renovate the existing spaces. Some of the large and little-used spaces of the Faculty of Civil Engineering and Architecture has been transformed and adapted to the needs of the library as much as possible. Instead of a library, assembly hall, and other less or inefficiently used spaces, a multifunctional center with an integrated library was created. Once the project was approved, it took several years to design the library and to find funding. Project implementation and construction renovation works started at the end of 2020 and lasted almost 1.5 years. It was completed in early 2022. The interior design of the new library has been guided by a set of core values that have been followed throughout the design process. Innovative solutions and the use of modern technologies. Eco-friendly solution, minimizing the environmental impact of the materials used and recycling them and sorting waste. Inspiring interiors are created according to the principle that the environment should stimulate creativity, using colors, textures, and materials that affect the general performance and mood. Ergonomic solutions are used to create a working environment that is favorable for a good mental state and increased productivity. The interior designers did not limit themselves to the functionality of the spaces, but paid a lot of attention to aesthetics. Pastel shades of materials and surfaces were chosen: blues, yellows, light grays, and greens. They are creative, inspiring, playful, and not tiring. Bright orange gives a sense of distinction, energy, and dynamism. We were very proud of what has been achieved. Have a look at the new library spaces, which launched in March 2022. The new university library offers individual, quiet study, group work, and event spaces. It includes a kitchenette, recreational areas, and offices for staff. The amphitheater space is used for events and presentation of student work, student gatherings, and leisure activities. The library's open hours vary according to the needs of its users. During busy periods, the library is open until midnight, but is available 20 hours a day if needed. The renovated library has many spaces for group work and teamwork. Separating these spaces was necessary to allow different groups to work in the same space. At the same time, the separation had to help create acoustic comfort in the spaces. Acoustic curtains were proposed for these purpose. They act as transformable partitions, planes that absorb sound and create acoustic comfort. In addition to these important features, a feeling of coziness can be mentioned. A lot of time is spent in the library reading and doing other work, which requires high quality and comfortable lighting. The library's external and outdoor space is also part of the library services, extending the library's ability to provide services to the community. There are sitting areas next to the library equipped with Wi-Fi connections, screens, couches, and a cafe area. Outside there are benches and tables, which are very attractive to visitors in the warm season and allow them to combine studying outside. The university library is accessible not only to the academic community, but also to all residents of Lithuania and visitors from abroad. It welcomes and serves all visitors wishing to use the information resources, reading rooms, individual and group workstations, computers, or to spend their leisure time in the comfortably furnished spaces with the book or in socializing with others. Finally, I would like to welcome the planned opening of other university space for experimental activities and prototyping next year. These spaces extend and open up new opportunities for innovative environments. Thank you all for your attention. I'm happy to answer your questions.
Thank you very, very much, Gintarė. It was a fabulous presentation. I'm going to hand over to Kat now for the next section of our webinar. And please, just a reminder, put your questions in the Q&A bottom of your screen. Thank you. Thanks, Kat.
Thank you, Marian. Tēnā koutou katoa, which is a formal greeting in Te Reo Māori, the language of the people from where I come. Thank you to all our speakers for your inspiring presentations. We're very grateful for this, and I now have some questions to pose to each of you. I would like to start with Gintarė. If you're there, Gintarė, if you want to come back on screen, thank you. I just want to say they were such beautiful images, and that background story to the Cuttriss University of Technology Library was so inspiring. You noted that the social and collaborative needs of university communities are more important than ever at this time. And we did see so many examples, so many elements in your library design that provide for this. I just wonder, could you tell us a bit more about some of the examples? And I'm thinking about the chill room, the human box we saw, and I think it was the zone as well. Could you talk a wee bit more about those?
Hello again, and thank you, Kat, for your question. Answering to your question, I would like to point out that the university's motto, human side of technologies, is on the list of the university's strategic priorities. Therefore, the university places great emphasis on the well-being of both students and staff. And I also want to remind you that the planning and construction of the library's interior was carried out under the COVID lockdown. So a lot of attention was paid to the creation of favorable psychological environment. There are relaxation areas where everyone can gather for socializing or for concentration and meditation. There are a sitting, sleeping bag pool to create a relaxing environment, swings for relaxation, indoor end chairs, where everyone can sit in their own bubble to read a book in comfort using headphones.
That's great, thank you. A bit of a follow-up question. So how were your users and the wider community of the university involved in the design process? Did they come up with some of those ideas for some of the spaces? And were you able to test any of the ideas like the colors or the graphics with them to see if they worked well or if you might need to change things somewhat?
As you can see from my previous presentation, the library users and staff, the university community, emeriti, and representatives of the city communities was involved in the discussion about the planning and design of the library from the very beginning. And the community was involved in the discussion on whether the library would be built as a new building or whether it would be housed in converted low-use premises for sustainability. And I would like also mention that the community, especially students and lecturers, expressed their needs regarding opening hours, planned activities, and services they want to have in the new library. And it was up to students to name the group workspaces. And after discussion, they decided that the name of each room should reflect the specifics of the university faculties. This led to the names as Archbox, Vault-box, Engine box, Cyber box, Cal box, Elements box. So it's expressed the specific of each faculties at our university. The community participated in the discussion with interior designer on choice of interior style. 3 different styles were proposed: the Stockholm style with calm pastel colors, the artificial intelligence style inspired by technology with bright, informative, and hyperbolic graphics, and the last, the Bauhaus style with the main aesthetic idea that form should follow function with a predominance of framing accents. It was chosen Stockholm style with some elements of other 2 styles. And we are still testing how this works in practice, what may be changed or improved. No major changes are needed so far, but we understand that the library is a living organism, sensitive and responsive to the needs of the university community and beyond. So we keep monitoring the user's needs in different forms, often in the form of informal interaction. As one of example of responding to the user's needs was dedicated to a space with the new library for the activities of the European Consortium of Innovative Universities that our university belongs to. The changes were not so big, just adding some symbols of the consortium to one of the group rooms, but this definitely adds a sense of belonging.
Thank you, Gintarė. I'll turn now to Emma. Emma, on that same theme of engaging users in your very beautiful IDA setting, you talked about using a co-design approach with quite a number of residents, not just locals, but a lot of people. Can you share with us a bit more about how you found them and engaged with these people, particularly if they were non-library users? How did you get them involved and what did that interaction look like? Thanks, Emma.
Yes, thank you, Kat. Yes, we talked to about 700 people all over the city and in the municipality. And since the library is for everyone, it's been really important also to talk to the non-visitors, to meet them where they are and to understand why they do not use the library today and what could make them go there in the future. And we've spoken to many different target groups, children, families, young adults, seniors, new to Sweden, those who have Swedish as a second language, people with disabilities, and various employees in the city, and also students. And in order to reach the non-users, we have made contact through different departments at the municipality and the activities that they organize or operate, like schools, for example. Teachers have had workshops in their classes during the pandemic when we couldn't reach them ourselves. So we had people doing it for us, and also different study associations and other organizations that we already collaborate with together with the library. And also Helsingborg has a webpage for dialogue where citizens can participate if they would like to engage and share their thoughts. So we got a few inputs from there as well. And we've also visited many different places in the city, just popped up and talked to people about what they do in their spare time, what they have, what their requirements are, and what they would like to do at the library and so on. So different methods that we used are conversations like that, shorter ones, but also more formal interviews, surveys, and various forms of workshops with different target groups. And during the pandemic, a lot of it was digitally. Course, but yeah, now we're out meeting the people again, and this is an ongoing process. That we're not done with that. It's something that we will continue to do.
Sure, an ongoing conversation, an ongoing connection. Yeah. Your community engagement, it revealed some very interesting insights. I particularly personally liked one of the phrases you shared from one of the residents, which was, I want it to be a place where I can be myself and be others. How did that sort of feedback translate into the interior design and the mood board that you showed us, so that I guess every visitor to the space can find something in the design that works for them or that they can identify with?
That is something that we work with a lot at the moment, together with the interior designer. And lots of people, they expressed, for example, the need for peace and quiet, as I told you, and also they wanted a sense of safety with lots of people around. And that's a kind of a tricky combination. But we tried to use neutral and soft colors, so to make it to set a quiet scene, but also have space and seatings for people to meet, so that it still encourages people to be there and hang out, and make it a busy place. And we have also a lot of greenery, like plants, and we will even have smaller trees in there to make it feel more like the outdoors and nature. And that is something that we've heard from people in all target groups, that this is important, the nature and the feeling of calm that it gives you. And now we're looking at different ways to also reflect the specific neighborhood in the formation and design, to make the residents feel more at home and more part of the, so it's more of a part of the community. But it's a work in progress.
That's great, thank you. And I suppose that ongoing conversation will help inform that evolving design as well. That's great. Thank you, Emma. I'll turn now to Tetiana. Tetiana, thank you so much for sharing with us the inspiring resilience and the courage of the Ukrainian people in the face of war. The concept of the wandering library seems such a perfect illustration of libraries providing that sense of safety and that sense of social connection with other people. My question is, how have the migrant Ukrainian library staff shared the message across the whole of the Ukraine that the Wandering Library is available for people to connect with? I guess particularly if you have places where there is no or there's reduced internet services and computer equipment, how has it happened? If you could share that with us. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Kate, for your question. And I'd like to thank you, all the organizers, for this wonderful and important event, and for the chance to participate in this meeting. Indeed, it was a certain challenge to organize the work of the library without real walls. But the experience during the pandemic when activities shifted to the internet space helped us a lot, and many of our readers managed to establish virtual connections with their libraries. Unfortunately, we have cheap mobile internet in Ukraine up to $5 per month without any limits. So we can actively use it even we don't have access to a dedicated internet line or computers. And the Wandering Library communicates through its own website, as well as most popular social networks, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and so on. And the library offers readers' reviews, exhibitions, references, online courses on Ukrainian language, computer coding, digital literacy, as well as interviews and meetings with interesting personalities. And besides that, library is collecting mobile funds and establishing connection with humanitarian centers for displaced people throughout Ukraine. But I should notice that such activity is pretty difficult now because Russia is bombing our energetic infrastructure, and you know, people who freeze first of all need to satisfy their simplest needs. And in addition, due to arranged by the Russians blackout, people do not have enough time to charge their devices. So due to this Russian politics of genocide, a lot of people don't have access to information and information service. And to conclude, this situation should be stopped. We must do something to stop this crime, because for now it looks like genocide, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tetiana. We join with you in solidarity for the incredible, unbelievable challenges your people are facing. I do want to note just how flexible and resilient, and as you say, courageous your amazing people are, so that librarians can continue to provide crucial services, even when there are no walls, there are no physical places from which to offer them. We'll turn now to Philip Kent from the University of Sydney, who will field some of the questions that have come through the Q&A. Thank you for that, and pose these to our speakers. Thank you, Philip.
Thanks very much, Kat, and good evening or good day to all of you from all around the world. And thank you so much to our speakers for your hard work in putting together your presentations and to share this session at fairly short notice. We really appreciate that. We've got about 8 questions that have come in through both the Q&A and from some of the other panelists. We'll go first to Tetiana, and an amazing question from Myanmar, in also a very difficult situation. And our participant asks, may I know if there is a dangerous situation for librarians who are helping people? They say that we are not safe from the military in Myanmar.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Unfortunately, as I said before, Ukraine is not now a safe place, not only for librarians, but for all of the Ukrainians. But it's more dangerous for people on occupied territories and near the front line. But also in other cities, as I said, due to these missile strikes and bombing. So it is not safe, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, not a happy answer, I'm sorry.
But we feel all the support of our colleagues, and you know, we just don't have another choice. Just stand and fight and live, and not another choice.
Yeah. And as a follow-on from that, is what can we do to help you in Ukraine? I know that I've seen that the American Library Association has been collecting funds, but is there something that we can do to help you in the Ukraine?
I think we can do a lot, because first of all, we can develop our information skills to counter this propaganda and information manipulation. We can see all the results of these negative trends, and we should protect ourselves and protect our people, our readers, from this negative influence of Russia's propaganda and information manipulation. So we should develop critical thinking and our information skills, and it will help. And second, I think we should stop collaborate with the Russian librarians, because they involved in Russian propaganda, and they break all the library's ethic. And I think that we should demonstrate our position more clearly. And the third, if we can, we should help Ukrainian librarians and Ukrainian libraries also.
Great. Thanks very much. Emma, a question for you, a very simple one. Who is the architect for Spira?
The architect for the whole Spira building is Link Architecture. It's a Scandinavian firm, but you can find them if you Google them. Link.
Right, okay. And while we've got you, could you tell us what is the most surprising thing you learned from engaging closely with your community?
I think it's when you talk to a lot of people that you find that there's so similar answers in different groups. For example, the nature that a lot of people talk about, and that they want both peace and quiet and people moving around. It's everywhere. You can see that that pattern whenever you talk to an amount of people, and that's really interesting. No matter what target group you are, it's the same things that people want.
Sure. Lovely. And then turning to Gintarė, which spaces in the new library are most popular with the students?
I would say that all spaces are used heavily, and we have a lot of students during all semester, but maybe spaces, groups, work spaces, and also amphitheater is most popular for big audience, and we have quite many events organized in the amphitheater area.
Great. Yeah, no, that was looked a really vibrant space, and as you said, it is very well used. So congratulations on that. So we go back to Tetiana, and a short question. What you mentioned the Danish model of libraries, and can you tell us what you took from that model
Of course, our Ukrainian Library Association has had actually a project with Danish colleagues, and our librarians visited Danish libraries and started this space organization and this model of 4 spaces, actually. And as I told, it's 4 spaces for like individual work and collaboration. And we adapted, the Ukrainian Library Association then realized such project in Ukraine and had financial support from the Ukrainian Cultural Foundation. And we developed like a guide for libraries, and it's in open access on our website, website of the Ukrainian Library Association. And any library that wants to conduct a reform of their space can use this guide and actually renovate space of the library. So that is.
Great, thank you. And I guess it's in line with the theme of our session today. It is
Absolutely.
A way where you can collaborate and share and to make resources go further by doing that. So thank you very much for that. Emma, there's another question for you. Can you tell us a bit more about the participative design process and how you managed competing priorities? Always a hard one.
That's a hard one, but we also have, we have a service designer that is actually employed by the library. So she's been working a lot with this for last 2 years. So that's the main focus actually for her and also the group that works together with her. So it's been prioritized inside the library now, these kind of things. So there's, they work with service design in different sprints, and they also work with the different workshops and also do different prototypes to go out and find people to talk about that. So it's actually quite high on the agenda at the Helsingborg Library.
Yeah, good. And you had no competing priorities?
Not that, no. Not that much.
Yeah, that's great. So Gintarė, there's a question about eco-friendly solutions for your interior design. Are you able to give us some more details?
I would say that the university positioned itself as a green university for many years, and when it comes to discussion and to decision, we always try to choose materials and solution what have minimal impact on environment, and we also try to use recycled materials. And I would like to mention that all energy what we use at the library is used from solar energy, because we have solar batteries and so on. So we pay a lot of attention to be environmental friendly university, and library also try to do this.
Right, good. Good to hear that you're making best use of your resources and being eco-friendly in your choices. And we have another question for you. Gintarė, have you had any chance to measure the impact of the new spaces?
You know, because new spaces was opened quite recently in March 2022. So we didn't have a lot of possibilities to measure impact, but we organized meeting with representatives, with student representatives, with researchers, asking them if they are satisfied with services what they have at the library. And you know, annually we organize survey. So next survey will be organized in April. So in April we will have more possibilities to measure satisfaction with our services, with impact. But now we don't have a lot of possibility to do this until now.
Great. Thank you very much and good luck with that in April. And we've got one last question to take us to the end, and it's from Bert, who's one of our newest members of the committee from Zimbabwe. And he says that all people and libraries are precious. I hope that your teams in conflict zones can digitize collections, safeguard and create plans for new library buildings that will get investment after the conflict is resolved. So really more a comment than a question, but if I think, Tetiana, if you want to say anything more about that, what are your plans for the future? It's a very positive comment there. It must be very hard for you to think beyond the next day.
I thank you very much for this support and for this comment and for worrying about all this situation. And unfortunately, not all collections were digitalized, unfortunately. But some of them were digitalized, yes, and they are safe. But we have another problem because, for example, our Kherson library in Kherson, it's the city that was just freed by Ukrainian military forces. It turns out that Russian soldiers acted as a thief, and some collections of our libraries were moved to Russia. So for now, we are thinking about how to return our books, our collections, because it's it values for us, and it's about actually a local history. And if we I can't imagine what we will do if we can't do it.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, and our thoughts are with you. History is littered with examples of this, with cultural vandalism and with people losing their culture. And there are some lovely stories through history as well. And we hope that some of your knowledge is able to be returned to you and repatriated. And I guess most importantly, we all hope that, that the war will be over soon. Anyway, thank you all so much. It's been a really exciting and invigorating, sad, but also uplifting session. And I'd like to thank all the speakers and all the panelists. And also thank you to our audience for contributing. It's great that we were able to answer all your questions before we ran out of time. You can see on the screen where you can find more information. And of course, if you want to watch this session again, then it normally only takes about a week for us to make the video of this session available on the YouTube channel, and so we will be doing that. And thank you all very much for joining us today, where our next session will be planning for in the early part, hopefully, of 2023. And we hope to put the spotlight on our friends on the African continent and to share some of the amazing projects that are going on there. So thank you all for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you all. Goodbye.